I never thought the boy I raised from 8 years old would look me in the eye and tell me I wasn't welcome at his wedding. But that's exactly what happened last March, and what I did next changed everything. My name is James. I'm 64 years old, a retired firefighter from Toronto, and for the past 18 years, I've been both grandfather and father to my grandson Tyler. His mother, my daughter Sarah, died in a car accident on the 401 during a winter storm when Tyler was just 8. Drunk driver crossed the median near Milton. She was 29. I was 46, recently widowed myself, and suddenly I was all Tyler had left. I remember the social worker asking me if I was sure I could handle it. "Mr. Morrison," she said, "raising a traumatized 8-year-old at your age, with a demanding career, that's no small thing." I looked at Tyler sitting in the corner of that office, small for his age, holding a stuffed moose his mother had won for him at the CNE, and I knew there was no question. He was my daughter's son. He was family. That was the end of the discussion. Those first few years were hard. Tyler had nightmares. I had no idea how to braid hair for school pictures or help with grade 3 math that somehow seemed harder than calculus. I took extra shifts at the station to pay for the child psychologist Dr. Patterson recommended. I drove him to hockey practice at 5:30 in the morning because that's what Sarah would have done. She'd played hockey herself, even made it to the provincial championships in her teens. I never tried to replace his mother. I made sure Tyler knew everything about Sarah, showed him photos, told him stories, took him to visit her grave on her birthday and Mother's Day. We'd bring Tim Hortons coffee and her favorite butter tarts from that bakery on Queen Street she loved. "Your mom would be so proud of you," I'd tell him, and I meant it every single time. By the time Tyler was 15, our relationship had found its rhythm. I'd retired from the fire department with a decent pension, which gave me more time to focus on him completely. He made the AAA hockey team. His grades were solid. He had good friends. On Friday nights, we'd order pizza from Massimo's and watch hockey night in Canada together, arguing about whether the Leafs would ever win another cup. "Gramps," he said one night, during the playoffs when he was 16, "I don't know what I would have done without you. You're the best father anyone could ask for." That moment lives in my memory, like a photograph. I can still see the way the TV light reflected off his face, still hear the sincerity in his voice. I helped him through his last years at Vaughan Secondary School, paid for SAT prep courses when he decided he wanted to apply to Western University, covered his residence fees, tuition, textbooks, meal plan. When he made the Western Mustangs hockey team in his second year, I drove to London every home game. 3 hours each way, but I never missed one. Tyler graduated with honors in business administration last spring. 25 years old, handsome, confident, ready to take on the world. I was so proud I thought my heart might burst during the convocation ceremony. Afterward, we celebrated at the keg, his choice. "Gramps," he said, raising his beer, "here's to you. I literally wouldn't be here without you. Everything I am, I owe to you." 4 months later, he met Madison. She was 25, from a wealthy family in Oakville. Her father owned a commercial real estate development company. Her mother sat on charity boards and organized galas at the Royal York Hotel. Madison herself worked in brand consulting, which as far as I could tell meant she managed Instagram accounts for lifestyle companies. Tyler brought her to Sunday dinner at my house in North York about 6 weeks after they started dating. She was beautiful, I'll give her that. Tall, blonde, that polished look that comes from expensive salons and personal trainers. But something about her smile didn't quite reach her eyes when she shook my hand. "Tyler's told me so much about you, James," she said. "Not Mr. Morrison, just James, even though we'd just met and I was more than twice her age. It's so sweet how close you two are." Sweet. The word felt diminishing somehow, though I couldn't quite put my finger on why. Over the next few months, I started seeing less of Tyler. Our Sunday dinners became every other week, then once a month. When I'd call, he'd often say he couldn't talk because he and Madison had plans. "Sorry, Gramps. Madison booked us a couple's massage," or "We're meeting her parents at their club." I tried not to worry. This was natural, wasn't it? He was young, in love, building his own life. That's what I'd raised him to do. In November, Tyler called and asked if he could come by to talk. He sounded nervous. "Just you and me, Gramps. Madison's at a yoga retreat in Niagara-on-the-Lake. He showed up on a Saturday afternoon. I made coffee the way he liked it, double-double from the Tim Hortons around the corner. We sat in my kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd helped him with homework, and taught him to make Sarah's famous tourtière every Christmas. "So," I said, trying to keep my tone light, "what's on your mind?" Tyler took a deep breath. "Madison and I are getting engaged. I wanted you to hear it from me first." My first reaction was joy. "Tyler, that's wonderful." I stood to hug him, but something in his posture stopped me. "There's more," he said. He wasn't meeting my eyes. "Madison's father is bringing me into his company, junior partner track. It's an incredible opportunity, Gramps. This is everything I've worked toward." "That's fantastic, son. Your mother would be so proud." "And," he paused, "Madison and I have been looking at houses. There's a place in Mississauga, near her parents. 3 bedrooms, finished basement, good neighborhood. We found the perfect one." I smiled. "I remember when you were 10, you drew a picture of your dream house, had a garage for a Zamboni." He didn't smile back. "The thing is, we need a down payment, 20%. The house is listed at $750, $150,000. I saw where this was going. "I know you always said you'd help me get started when the time came," Tyler continued. "You mentioned it when I graduated. You said the house would eventually be mine anyway, so you'd help with a down payment when I was ready to settle down." I had said that. After my wife Margaret died 15 years ago, and then after Sarah was gone, I'd told Tyler that this house, our family home, would be his someday. That when he was ready to build his own life, I'd help him with a down payment so he wouldn't be crushed by debt the way so many young people are. "I did say that," I acknowledged, "and I meant it. Let me talk to my financial advisor, see what we can work out." Tyler's relief was visible. He hugged me then, tight. "Thank you, Gramps. I knew I could count on you. You've always been there for me." The engagement happened 2 weeks later. Madison's parents threw a party at their house in Oakville. It was elaborate, catered, with a photographer and everything. I drove out there in my 10-year-old Honda Civic, parking it among the BMWs and Mercedes in their circular driveway. Madison's mother, Patricia, greeted me at the door. "You must be Tyler's grandfather," she said, voice dripping with that particular tone wealthy people use when they're being polite to someone they consider beneath them. "How nice of you to come." The party was full of Madison's family and friends. I recognized maybe 3 people, Tyler's buddy Kyle from Western and a couple of his hockey teammates. I stood in the corner nursing a beer, watching Tyler and Madison pose for photos, watching Madison's father Gregory make a speech about welcoming Tyler into the family business and into our family. No mention of the family Tyler already had. No acknowledgement of the 18 years that got him to this point. Tyler caught my eye once across the room and gave me a smile and a small wave. But he didn't come over, didn't introduce me to Madison's relatives, didn't include me in any of the photos. I left early. Nobody noticed. Christmas was different that year. For the first time in 18 years, Tyler said he couldn't make it for our traditional Christmas Eve celebration. Madison's family has this big thing at their place, Gramps. Her whole extended family comes in from all over. I can't miss it. "What about Christmas Day?" I asked. "We're going to her cousin's cottage in Muskoka. It's a whole week thing. I'm really sorry." I spent Christmas Eve alone, made Sarah's tourtière anyway, just for myself, watched It's a Wonderful Life, and tried not to feel sorry for myself. This was part of letting him go, I told myself. This was healthy. Tyler stopped by on December 27th with a gift card to Canadian Tire and a quick hug. He stayed for 20 minutes. In January, we started planning the wedding, or rather, Madison and her mother started planning the wedding. I heard about it secondhand through Tyler. "It's going to be at this amazing venue in Niagara-on-the-Lake," he told me over the phone. "Madison's parents know the owners. It's right on the lake, holds 200 people. June 15th. 200 people?" I said. "That's quite a guest list." "Yeah, Madison's family is huge. Plus her parents have a lot of business connections. It's going to be beautiful, Gramps." "I'm sure it will be," I said. "Hey, do you want to grab dinner this week? Catch a Leafs game? I haven't seen you properly since before Christmas. Let me check with Madison and get back to you." He didn't get back to me. In February, I contacted my financial advisor, Robert Chen, to discuss the down payment I'd promised Tyler. Robert had been handling my finances since I retired. "James," he said, looking at the numbers, You can do this, but it'll take a significant portion of your savings. Have you thought about what that means for your retirement? For your own security? Tyler's my grandson, I said. My daughter's son. I promised I'd help him. Robert nodded slowly. Okay. I'll start preparing the paperwork. You'll need to decide if this is a gift or a loan. A gift, I said immediately. I don't want Tyler feeling indebted to me. I want him to start his life free and clear. That's generous of you, James. Make sure he knows what you're giving up for this. I didn't want Tyler to feel guilty, though. I wanted him to be happy. The first real warning sign came in early March. I called Tyler to let him know I'd arranged the down payment funds. He could have his real estate lawyer contact Robert whenever they were ready to make an offer. That's great, Gramps, he said, but his voice was tight. Actually, I need to talk to you about something. Can you come by our apartment tomorrow evening? Our apartment. He and Madison had moved in together in February. I drove to their place in Mississauga the next evening. It was a nice building, modern, with underground parking and a concierge. Tyler let me in. Madison was there too, sitting on their gray sectional sofa with a glass of white wine. James, she said. Not even hello, just my name, flat. Tyler offered me coffee, but his hands were shaking slightly as he poured it. We sat down in their living room. Through the window, I could see the Toronto skyline lit up against the darkening sky. Gramps, Tyler started, then stopped. He looked at Madison. She gave him a small nod, like she was giving permission. Madison and I have been talking a lot about boundaries, he continued, about what healthy adult relationships look like. And we've realized that maybe our relationship, yours and mine, has been a bit enmeshed. Enmeshed. That was not Tyler's word. What do you mean? I asked carefully. Madison jumped in. Tyler's been in therapy, James. We both have. Couples counseling with an amazing therapist in Oakville, and what we're discovering is that there are some codependency patterns that need to be addressed. I looked at Tyler. His face was flushed. I don't understand, I said. You've done so much for me, Gramps, Tyler said. And I'm grateful. I really am. But Madison's therapist says that I need to establish myself as an independent adult, separate from your influence, that I need to become my own man. I've never tried to stop you from being independent, I said. My coffee was getting cold in my hands. Everything I've done has been to help you build your own life. See, that's the thing, Madison said, leaning forward. Her voice had taken on that patient tone people use when they're explaining something to a child. Tyler needs to build his life himself. He needs to make his own choices without feeling like he has to consider your opinion on everything. I give my opinion when he asks for it, I said. That's what family does. But don't you see how that creates pressure? Madison continued. Tyler feels obligated to you. He feels like he owes you something. That's not healthy for him as he moves into this next phase of his life. Tyler was nodding along. My grandson, who I'd raised, who I'd sat up with during nightmares, who I'd taught to skate and drive and balance a checkbook, was nodding along while his fiancée explained to me that loving him was somehow damaging him. What exactly are you saying? I asked. My voice was calm, but inside I felt something cold spreading through my chest. Tyler cleared his throat. The wedding, he said. Madison and I have been thinking about what we want it to represent. We want it to be about us starting our new life together. You know, a celebration of our future, not our past. That's what weddings are, I said. Right, but we want it to be intimate, Madison said. Just immediate family and our closest friends. Really intimate. Authentic. I'm immediate family, I said. I'm your grandfather, Tyler. I raised you, and that's beautiful, Madison said quickly. Too quickly. What you did for Tyler is beautiful. But this is about Madison and Tyler now. This is about them as a couple, creating their own family unit. Tyler wasn't looking at me. He was staring at his hands. Tyler, I said, what are you trying to tell me? He finally looked up. His eyes were shiny, but his jaw was set. Madison's right, Gramps. I need to be my own person now, and the therapist said that means setting boundaries, even when it's uncomfortable. What boundary are you setting? I asked, though I was starting to understand. Madison and I have decided to keep the wedding small and intimate. Just parents, siblings, wedding party, no extended family on either side. We're not even inviting Madison's aunts and uncles. I'm not extended family, I said. I'm the person who raised you. And I love you for that, Tyler said. His voice cracked slightly. But Madison and I need this to be about us, about our future. The therapist said that for me to fully step into my adult identity, I need to stop defining myself through my relationship with you. The words felt like physical blows. I sat there, coffee cold, staring at this young man who looked like Tyler but sounded like a stranger. "So you don't want me at your wedding?" I said flatly. "It's not that we don't want you," Madison interjected. "It's that we're making a choice about the energy we want in that space. We want it to be forward-looking, not tied to old family dynamics." Old family dynamics. She meant me raising him after his mother died. "But we absolutely still want the down payment," Tyler added quickly. "That's separate. That's you helping us build our future, which we really appreciate. We've already made an offer on the house in Mississauga, pending financing." Let me make sure I understood this correctly. They didn't want me at the wedding because my presence represented old family dynamics and would prevent Tyler from being his own man. But they still wanted my $150,000. I stood up. My legs felt wooden. "I need to think about this," I said. Gramps, Tyler started. "I need to think about this," I repeated. "I'll be in touch." I walked out of that apartment, got into my Civic, and sat in the underground parking garage for 20 minutes before I trusted myself to drive. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed in the house where I'd raised Tyler, staring at the ceiling, thinking about every moment of the past 18 years. Every hockey practice at dawn, every parent-teacher conference, every time I'd missed a dinner with friends, or a chance to travel because Tyler needed me, every dollar I'd scraped together from my pension to make sure he had opportunities. And then I thought about Madison's voice. Old family dynamics. As if loving Tyler, raising him, being his family was something negative to be overcome. By 3 a.m, I'd made my decision. The next day, I called Robert Chen. "That down payment we discussed," I said. "I need you to freeze those funds. Don't make them available yet." "Is there a problem?" Robert asked. "I'm reassessing the situation," I said. "I'll let you know." Then I called my friend David, who'd been my captain at the fire station before we both retired. "I need your advice," I said. "Legal advice." David put me in touch with his daughter, Claire, who was a family lawyer in Toronto. I met with her that week. "Let me get this straight," Claire said after I'd explained everything. "You've raised this young man for 18 years. You've invested, what, how much would you estimate?" I'd done the math already. I'd been doing math all week in the middle of sleepless nights. University tuition, residence, meal plans, 4 years, roughly $75,000. Private school for high school, $40,000. Hockey from age 8 to 18. Equipment, ice time, travel to tournaments, probably $60,000. Car when he turned 18, $22,000. Insurance for that car while he was in school, another $12,000. Clothes, food, activities, summer camps, school supplies, field trips, braces for his teeth, his phone bills. I trailed off. All in, probably around $420,000 over 18 years. Claire's eyebrows had risen. "Did you track all of this?" "I did. I'm methodical. Old habit from the fire service. I kept receipts, bank statements, credit card bills. I have spreadsheets." "Why?" Claire asked gently. "Because I wanted to know exactly what it cost to give Tyler the life Sarah would have wanted for him. I wanted to know I'd done right by her." Claire was quiet for a moment. "James, you don't owe anyone proof of your love. You know that, right?" "I know," I said, "but I'm going to give it to them anyway." "What are you thinking?" I told her my plan. She listened, made notes, asked questions. Finally, she sat back. "This is legally sound," she said. "The down payment was a promise, not a contract. You're under no obligation to provide it. The house is in your name. You can sell it whenever you want. But James, are you sure? This will burn bridges." "They already burned the bridge," I said. "I'm just deciding not to swim across the river." Over the next 2 months, I executed my plan with the same methodical precision I'd brought to fighting fires for 34 years. Tyler called a few times, left messages about wedding details, asked when the down payment would be ready. I didn't return the calls. Madison sent a text. "Hi James, just following up on the $. Our closing date is July 12th, so we need the funds by July 5th at the latest. Thanks." I didn't respond. In early April, I contacted a realtor, Jennifer Wu, one of the top agents in North York. I need to sell my house, I told her. Quickly, quietly, and for top dollar. Jennifer was efficient. We listed it on a Thursday. By Monday, we had 3 offers. I accepted an offer from a young family from Brampton, $40,000 over asking price. They could close in 30 days. I started packing. 18 years of Tyler's life. His hockey trophies from the basement rec room. Photos from every stage of his childhood covering the hallway walls. His height marks on the kitchen doorframe, starting from age 8. The growth chart I'd kept. Every inch celebrated. The Father's Day cards he'd made me in elementary school. The ones where he'd drawn stick figures of us and written "Best Grandpa Ever." I packed it all. Some things went into boxes for storage. Most of Tyler's childhood items I left in his old bedroom. Let him explain to the new owners what to do with them. I'd been looking at properties online. There was a place in Muskoka, near Gravenhurst. A small cottage on a quiet lake, winterized, year-round access. 2 bedrooms, wood stove, a dock. It was perfect for one person who wanted peace. I made an offer. It was accepted. While I packed, I created something else. A binder. Black, 3-ring, professional. In it, I placed documentation of every dollar I'd spent on Tyler over 18 years. Receipts, bank statements, credit card bills, canceled checks. I organized it by category and by year. Private school tuition, hockey equipment, university costs, living expenses, the car, insurance, summer camps, music lessons for the guitar he gave up after 6 months, ski trips to Blue Mountain, that spring break trip to Vancouver when he was 16, the laptop for university, the printer, the textbooks, the meal plan, the Frosh week fees, on and on and on. On the first page, I put a letter. I wrote it out by hand on my good stationery, the set Margaret had given me years ago. Tyler, enclosed is a complete record of every dollar I spent on you from age 8 to 26. The total comes to $421,847.29. I never kept these records to hold them over you. I kept them because I wanted to honor your mother's memory by accounting for every sacrifice I made to give you the life she would have wanted for you. You told me I needed to respect your boundaries, that you needed to be your own man, that my presence in your life represents old family dynamics that prevent you from moving forward. I respect that. I'm giving you exactly what you asked for. Distance. The down payment you requested is $150,000. Given the amount I've already invested in building your future, I consider my obligation fulfilled. You are now free to build your life independently, as you and Madison wished. This house, which you expected to inherit, has been sold. The closing date is May 15th. The new owners take possession on May 16th. I hope you find the independence and adult identity you're looking for. I hope Madison's family can provide the support and guidance you no longer need from me. Your mother loved you with every fiber of her being. I tried my best to love you the way she would have wanted. I wish you all the best in your marriage and your future. James Morrison. I printed out a summary page, stapling it to the inside front cover of the binder. Investment summary. Tyler Morrison, age 8 to 26. Education private school and university. $115,247. Ling. Housing residence, living expenses. $78,450. Transportation vehicle, insurance, maintenance. $42,180. Athletics, hockey, equipment, tournaments. $61,844. Healthcare, dental, therapy, medical. $28,910. Clothing and personal items. $19,203. Activities and travel. $31,447.29. Technology and education materials. $15,566. Miscellaneous gifts, entertainment, etc. $29,000. Total, 421, 847.9. I placed the binder on the kitchen counter of my empty house, the house that Tyler thought he'd inherit, the house where we'd lived our lives together, where I'd tried to give him the childhood Sarah's death had stolen. On May 14th, the day before closing, I did one final walkthrough of the empty house. The rooms echoed. Patches on the walls marked where pictures had hung for decades. Tyler's height marks were still on the doorframe. I thought about sanding them off, but decided to leave them. Let the new family wonder about the child who'd grown up here. I left the binder in the center of the kitchen counter, placed it exactly where Tyler and I used to sit and do his homework, where we'd eaten breakfast together for 18 years, where I'd taught him to make scrambled eggs and Sarah's tourtière. Then I locked the door, handed the keys to Jennifer Wu, and drove north to Muskoka. The cottage was small, but comfortable. The lake was calm. There were loons calling in the mornings. I spent my days reading books I'd never had time for, kayaking, fixing up the cottage. Some of the firefighters from my old station came to visit, helped me build a new deck. David and his wife came for weekends. I joined a local volunteer fire department, teaching young firefighters. I was busy. I was fine. Tyler called 6 times in the first 2 days after the closing, left frantic voicemails. "Gramps, where are you? I went by the house, and there are strangers living there. What's going on? Call me back. Gramps, seriously, what is happening? Madison and I need the down payment like right now. Our closing date is in 3 weeks. Please call me back. I saw the binder you left. Gramps, I don't understand. Are you mad at me? We can talk about this. Please just call me." Madison's freaking out. Her parents are asking questions. I don't know what to tell them. "Please, Gramps, I'm begging you. Just tell me where you are." I didn't respond. Madison texted, "James, I don't know what game you're playing, but this is really immature. Tyler is devastated. We need that money. You promised. If you don't come through, we're going to lose the house. Is that what you want?" I blocked her number. Tyler's final voicemail came on May 20th. His voice was different, harder. "I get it, okay? You're mad because we didn't invite you to the wedding. But this is really low, Gramps. To promise something and then just disappear? To not even talk to us about it? Madison was right about you. You're manipulative. You're controlling. Everything you did for me, you kept track of, like I owe you something. That's not love. I don't even know what that is. But we're done. If you ever decide to grow up and act like an adult, you have my number. But don't expect me to come running back." I saved that voicemail. Listened to it a few times. It hurt. Hearing him parrot Madison's words. Hearing him rewrite history, turn 18 years of love into some kind of twisted manipulation. But I also felt free. In June, I heard through Kyle, Tyler's friend from Western who'd kept in touch with me, that Tyler and Madison's house deal had fallen through. They couldn't secure financing without the down payment. They'd lost their deposit. Madison's father had apparently refused to help, saying if Tyler couldn't manage his own finances, he wasn't ready for the junior partnership. The wedding still happened. Kyle told me it was at a hotel in Mississauga, scaled way down from the original venue in Niagara. About 60 people, instead of 200. Madison's family had apparently cut back their contribution when the house deal collapsed. Kyle also told me that he'd overheard Madison yelling at Tyler during the rehearsal dinner. "This is your fault. If you'd just managed your grandfather better, if you hadn't told him the truth about not being invited, we'd have the house. But no, you had to be honest. You had to set boundaries. Look where that got us." Tyler had apparently gone outside after that, sat in the parking lot for an hour. I tried not to feel satisfaction. I mostly succeeded. In September, I got a letter. Not from Tyler, but from Kyle. He wrote, "Mr. Morrison, I thought you should know. Tyler and Madison are having problems. She's talking about the wedding being a mistake. She keeps comparing their apartment to her friends' houses. Tyler lost the job opportunity with her father. He's working retail management now, trying to rebuild. He looks tired all the time. I tried talking to him about you. He shut down completely. Said it was complicated. I don't know if this helps, but I thought you deserved to know he's not doing great. Kyle." Part of me wanted to reach out. The part that had rocked Tyler through nightmares when he was 8. The part that had cheered at every hockey game, celebrated every report card, worried through every teenage crisis. But I didn't. Because that Tyler, the one I'd raised and loved, had told me I was manipulative and controlling. Had told me my love was unhealthy. Had chosen a woman he'd known for months over the man who'd raised him for 18 years. If he wanted to come back, he knew where to find me. But he'd have to do it himself. That's what being an independent adult meant, right? By the time December rolled around, I'd been in the cottage for 7 months. I'd made friends with my neighbors, a retired couple named Martha and Bob. I'd joined the Gravenhurst Community Center, volunteered with Habitat for Humanity. I spent Christmas Day with David's family in Barrie, drove back to my quiet cottage that evening, watched the stars over the frozen lake. It was peaceful. Sometimes, late at night, I'd think about Tyler, wonder if he was happy, wonder if he ever thought about our Sunday dinners, our Christmases, our traditions. But mostly, I was learning something I should have understood sooner. Love isn't about how much you give. It's about whether your giving is valued. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is step back and let people face the consequences of their choices. Tyler chose Madison's version of independence, chose to view 18 years of sacrifice as enmeshment and codependency, chose to believe that the man who raised him was toxic simply because a therapist he'd never met had said so. So I chose peace, chose my own life, my own future, chose to stop giving to someone who'd made it clear my giving wasn't welcome. I heard through Kyle that Madison and Tyler separated in February, a year after their conversation in their apartment. Apparently, Madison had started seeing someone else, someone with better financial prospects. Tyler had moved back in with Madison's parents temporarily while he figured things out, but that hadn't lasted long. Last I heard, he was living with roommates somewhere in Scarborough, still working retail management. I don't know if he's happy. I don't know if he ever thinks about Sunday dinners or hockey night in Canada or Christmas tourtière. I don't know if he ever looks at the old family dynamics he rejected and wonders if maybe, just maybe, love sometimes looks like a grandfather doing his best to honor his dead daughter's memory by raising her son. What I do know is this: I sleep well at night. My cottage is peaceful. The loons call every morning. I have friends, purpose, a life I built for myself after spending 18 years building someone else's. And if Tyler ever wants to have a real conversation, not about money or boundaries or therapy speak, but about family and love and what we meant to each other, he knows where to find me. I'll be here, on this quiet lake, living the life I earned after 6 decades of service, sacrifice, and learning the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes, loving someone means letting them go completely, even when it breaks your heart. Because real independence isn't about rejecting the people who loved you. It's about understanding the value of what they gave you and choosing to honor it. Tyler hasn't learned that yet. Maybe someday he will, or maybe he won't. Either way, I'm done waiting. To anyone reading this who's been through something similar, here's what I learned. You can't force people to value your sacrifices. You can't make them see what you've given up for them. All you can do is know your own worth, set your own boundaries, and walk away when staying means losing yourself. Love isn't supposed to diminish you. It's not supposed to be something you have to defend or justify or prove with receipts and bank statements. If someone tells you that loving them is unhealthy, maybe the unhealthy part isn't your love. Maybe it's their inability to receive it. I raised Tyler because I loved his mother, and I loved him. I kept those financial records not to create debt, but to honor Sarah's memory by being accountable for every dollar I spent trying to give her son the life she couldn't. I don't regret any of it. Not the early mornings, not the missed opportunities, not the money, not the years. I only regret that Tyler couldn't see it for what it was. A grandfather doing his best to keep his daughter's spirit alive through her son. But that's not my burden to carry anymore. I left it behind in that binder on the kitchen counter, in that empty house in North York. Now I carry only peace, hard-won and precious, here by this quiet lake where the loons call and the water is clear and my life is my own again. And you know what? That's enough.